the night we accepted her offer, our lives changed forever. For 6 long years, my best friend Dakari and I had chased one dream. We wanted to become the biggest Afrobeat duo in Africa. We had the talent. We wrote our own songs, produced our own beats, and performed anywhere that would let us on stage. Small clubs, weddings, birthday parties, it didn't matter. We gave every performance everything we had. The crowds loved us. They danced, sang along, and begged us to release more music. But when the lights went out, nothing changed. Record labels ignored us. Radio stations wouldn't play our songs. Our streaming numbers stayed low, and every month it became harder to pay the rent. Still, Dakari never gave up. He would always tell me, "Our time is coming. Talent always wins." I wanted to believe him, but after years of rejection, even hope began to feel heavy. One night, after another disappointing performance, we packed up our equipment and walked toward the parking lot. The air was warm and dusty, carrying the smell of spilled beer, hot pavement, and the faint smoke from the food vendors still closing up nearby. That's when we saw her. She was standing beside a black luxury car, dressed in a bright red dress that seemed to catch and hold the streetlight like a flame. The fabric shimmered when she moved, smooth and expensive, and her heels clicked softly against the concrete. She smiled as if she had known us for years. "I've been watching both of you," she said. "You're far too talented to be struggling like this." We thanked her politely. Then she leaned closer and her perfume drifted toward us, sweet, heavy, and strangely cold beneath the heat of the night. "I can make you famous," Dakari laughed. "So you're a music manager?" Her smile grew even wider. "I'm much more than that." She handed us a black business card. It was thick and velvety to the touch, almost like leather, and there was no company name, no phone number, only 4 words. "Everything has a price." Something about it made me uncomfortable. Dakari thought it was exciting. A week later, curiosity got the better of us, and we accepted her invitation to visit a mansion on the outskirts of the city. The drive there felt endless. The road narrowed, the city lights faded behind us, and the night grew quieter with every mile. When we finally arrived, the mansion rose out of the darkness like something carved from shadow. Tall iron gates opened with a slow metallic groan. The gravel crunched beneath our shoes as we walked toward the entrance, and the air around the house felt unnaturally still, as if even the wind had been told to stay away. Inside, the house was enormous, but strangely quiet. The polished floors reflected the dim glow of candles placed in every room, their flames trembling and casting long, wavering shadows across the walls. The scent of wax and old wood hung in the air. There were no servants, no music, no television, just the soft hiss of candle flames and the occasional creak of the house settling around us. She welcomed us inside and finally spoke the words that changed our lives forever. "I can give you everything you've ever wanted. Fame, wealth, awards, millions of fans." Dakari smiled. "What do you want in return?" She looked directly into our eyes. In the candlelight, her face seemed both beautiful and unsettling, as if the shadows themselves were moving beneath her skin. "My name has been different in every generation. Some call me the devil." The room instantly became cold, not just cool, cold enough to raise goosebumps on my arms. The candle flames flickered hard, bending sideways without any wind. Somewhere deep in the house, a floorboard creaked, then another, though no one was there. Every instinct in my body told me to leave, but neither of us moved. She told us there would be ceremonies, rituals. We were never to speak about them, never question them, and never stop once we began. Looking back, we should have walked away that night. Instead, we said yes. Within weeks, everything changed. One song exploded across social media, then another. Soon, every radio station was playing our music. Our concerts sold out in minutes. We were traveling the world on private jets. Luxury cars filled our driveways. Award after award came our way. People called us the future of Afrobeats. Every dream we had ever chased became reality. But every success came with another ritual. Each one became darker than the last. At first, I tried to ignore it. I told myself it was just the price of success. But I stopped sleeping. The joy disappeared from my life. Every time I looked in the mirror, I barely recognized the man staring back at me. The rituals began in rooms that never seemed to have enough light. Sometimes it was a circle of candles on a stone floor, their flames throwing orange light across the walls. Sometimes it was the smell that got to me first, burning herbs, bitter smoke, and something metallic underneath it that made my stomach turn. The air would grow thick and stale, and the silence before each ceremony felt heavier than the ceremony itself. There were chants I didn't understand, low voices rising and falling like a distant tide, and the sound of bare feet moving across cold tiles. Each time, I felt the same thing, the slow, sick certainty that something inside me was being chipped away. One night, I told Dakari I couldn't continue. I can't do this anymore. He stared at me. If you leave now, we'll lose everything. I'd rather lose everything than lose myself. When I told the woman I was done, she smiled exactly the way she had the first night we met. If you leave, she whispered, you leave without my protection. I walked away anyway. The nightmare started almost immediately. My apartment caught fire. I woke to the sharp smell of smoke and the crackle of flames licking through the walls. By the time I got outside, my clothes reeked of ash and the heat had burned my skin. The windows burst one after another with loud popping sounds, and orange light poured into the night like the building itself was being swallowed alive. My savings disappeared through fraud. One morning, my account was full. By evening, it was nearly empty. The numbers on the screen looked unreal, cold and final, as if someone had reached into my life and ripped out the foundation beneath me. I survived a terrible car accident that should have ended me. The impact came like a thunderclap. Metal screamed. Glass shattered into 1,000 glittering pieces. The smell of gasoline and dust filled the air. For a few seconds, everything was white noise and pain, and when I opened my eyes, I could hear my own breathing, ragged and shallow, over the distant wail of sirens. Business opportunities vanished overnight. People spread lies about me online. Friends I had trusted turned their backs on me. My entire life was falling apart. Meanwhile, Dakari became even more famous. He wasn't just a star anymore. He became one of the biggest Afrobeat artists in the world. He performed in packed stadiums across continents. He won international music awards. He bought mansions, expensive watches, luxury cars, and everything money could buy. From the outside, he looked like he had everything. But whenever we spoke, I noticed something. His smile never reached his eyes. One day, he quietly admitted, I don't remember the last time I felt happy. Months passed. Then one afternoon, while I sat alone outside a market, wondering how much more I could endure, an elderly woman approached me. The sun was harsh overhead and the air smelled of ripe fruit, dust, and frying oil from a nearby stall. She moved slowly, leaning on a wooden cane, and when she stopped in front of me, the noise of the market seemed to fade into the background. She looked into my eyes for only a few seconds before saying something that sent chills down my spine. You're carrying darkness that doesn't belong to you. She told me about a respected spiritual healer in a distant village, a man known for helping people find peace after making destructive choices. I had nothing left to lose. So I went. The healer welcomed me with kindness. His compound was quiet, shaded by tall trees, and the air there felt different, cooler, cleaner, almost still enough to hear the leaves moving overhead. He didn't ask for money. He didn't promise miracles. He simply listened. When I finished telling my story, he said quietly, freedom begins when you choose truth over power. Healing wasn't instant. There were no shortcuts. I had to admit my mistakes. I had to rebuild my life honestly, one day at a time. Slowly, things changed. The fear that had followed me everywhere began to fade. My family welcomed me back. I found honest work, producing music for young artists who simply loved creating songs. For the first time in years, I could sleep peacefully. I wasn't rich, I wasn't famous, but I finally had peace. Then, just as suddenly as the Kari's success had come, it disappeared. His business partners stole millions from him. His manager vanished. His investments failed. His record label dropped him. His houses were seized. His luxury cars were repossessed. The fans who once worshipped him moved on to the next big star. Within a few short years, everything was gone. The woman in red never returned. One rainy afternoon, I found Dakari sitting alone outside a bus station. The sky was low and gray, and rain tapped steadily against the metal roof above him. Water pooled in the cracks of the pavement. His expensive clothes were gone, replaced by a thin shirt that clung to his shoulders in the damp air. His face looked tired and hollow, and he was carrying everything he owned in one small bag. He looked at me with tears in his eyes. "I had everything," he whispered, "and I lost it all." I sat beside him for a long time without saying a word. Finally, he asked me one question. "Do you think someone like me can ever have peace again?" I looked at my old friend and answered honestly, "As long as you're alive, there's always hope, but the road back is never easy." He nodded slowly. The last time I saw Dakari, he was beginning his life again with nothing but humility and the hope that one day he might find the peace that fame had never given him. As for me, I never became the superstar I once dreamed of becoming. But I learned that real success isn't measured by awards, money, or millions of fans. It's measured by being able to close your eyes at night with a clear conscience. Because not every door that promises greatness leads to a better life. Some doors are only open to see what you're willing to sacrifice.